Welcome to my free e-course, The 7 Foundations to Living Your Legacy. My name is Tim Seeley, and I will be your guide through each module to help you live a more fulfilled life as you live out your legacy today. In the first module, we talked about what character is and how it is lived out. In the second module, we looked at the principle of relational connection. In this third module, we are going to walk through the foundational principle of competence, examining both what it is and why it is important. If you haven't done so already, please take a moment and download the workbook. It will help you think through each of the principles and guide you through the exercises for each module. Use it as a tool to help you process the material, synthesize your thoughts, and establish your desired course of action. Dictionary.com gives this definition for competence, quote, having suitable or sufficient skill, knowledge, experience, etc., for some purpose, unquote. Simply put, competence is being properly qualified. Allow me to illustrate. A relative of mine has a job which involves testing software programs. While another organization writes the program, his company is responsible to make sure that it runs properly. A particular individual was hired by his company, having been highly recommended by others. Having worked at a high-profile organization in the past, one would assume this person would have brought with him valuable experience and sufficient knowledge. However, as the employee became engaged and was given a bit more responsibility, he began to ask questions. The elementary nature of many of his inquiries showed a knowledge gap and brought into question the job-related experience he was assumed to have. It seemed that his past experience had not given him the suitable skills or sufficient knowledge to be able to do the job. His past employment history, despite its being with a high-profile organization, did not mean he was qualified to do the job he was now hired for properly. So then, breaking down the definition further, being competent is a combination of skill, knowledge, and experience. We can see that when the employee from our illustration started to ask basic questions he was assumed to know the answer to based on his past job experience. It became clear that he did not have the knowledge, skill, or experience that the job required. Any prior experience did not translate to the job at hand. Now, the end result was that he was not properly qualified and was thus not competent to do the job. Having reviewed nearly 3 of the foundational principles to living out your legacy, let me ask you, do you think these happen overnight? Our definition of competency, as noted above, gives us a hint. The words suitable and sufficient are words that connote a length of time. To have suitable skill, knowledge, or experience, it must be cultivated over time. A thought that was prevalent when I was younger was that a person had to stick with the same job throughout their life. This has been proven to be a fallacy, especially if the job you have now is preparing you for the job with greater influence or responsibility. But it's worth asking this question. Are you changing jobs just because you don't like your current boss? For greater opportunity, for more money, a better position? Competence is proven over time. At times, this will likely lead you to change positions and take on more responsibility so that you can learn and grow both personally and professionally. This begs the question, if competence is built over time, how do I build this principle into my life? I like what famous Green Bay Packer coach Vince Lombardi stated. He said, quote, "Practice does not make perfect, only perfect practice makes perfect," unquote. In other words, attaining competence and effectiveness at a particular skill requires proper execution or consistent execution at the highest level. As we continue to go through these 7 principles, you will see that they are all interrelated. In the first module, we looked at character. Competence and character go hand in hand. It's imperative to live with integrity and character. And just a reminder, the difference from Module 1, character is the internal code, which is rooted in your values, while integrity is your external code, which is how you live out your values. Competence is lived out in the small things of life, done over a long period. A couple of examples of the small things include being prepared and being on time, following through and keeping your word when you say you will do something. Also, doing things with excellence. The interrelation continues. In the second module, we talked about connections, which is related to competence. This connection is best demonstrated in how you lead people. As you go through life and take on increasing measure of responsibility, you will likely find yourself overseeing other people. Your first steps require developing competency in the job at hand. As you grow in that job and skill and knowledge of the job, promotions, which are typically based on success and merit, will often follow. Looking back, you'll find that time, diligence, and effort has brought about a new level of competency. No doubt we all struggle with delayed gratification. The microwave is proof of our perpetual need for faster results. The character-competence connection is very important here when it comes to persistence. Competence is built over time, which requires persistence. Another connection in developing skill, knowledge, and experience is to have a humble attitude and a learning mindset. This is especially important for those that are younger and still making their way in the world. Competence takes time. Commit yourself to putting in the work to achieve it. Understand that you cannot be competent in everything. My encouragement to you is to be purposeful and to choose to cultivate the competency in what really matters most. Things like your relationships and things that will make the greatest impact on the world around you. Develop the suitable and sufficient skill, knowledge, and experience. This will ensure the principle of competency will be a part of your legacy. Now it's your turn. Take some time and go through the exercises on the worksheet. Take some time to block out about 10 to 20 minutes and answer the questions. Reflection is an important part of living out your legacy. This could be the most profitable and beneficial time of your life. After you've completed the exercises, you may go on to the next module. There, we will be examining the next foundational principle of courage. Please leave a comment or question below. I would love to hear your feedback on the challenges of living out competency and how you plan to apply this third foundational principle in order to begin living your legacy today.